Hey, good morning. It's Thursday morning, February 11th. Thank you for being here. Again, I'm outside. Been enjoying it, but the video this morning is based upon a narrative encounter that takes place outside. So I wanted to be outside to be able to talk about it. This is the third in this series of, life circumstances, and life is not random. And how do we deal with these moments, these encounters, these life changes that we have? Some of them life dominating, some seemingly small, some huge. How do we deal with that? So we started with the fact that life isn't random. We talked about that yesterday morning. The large circumstances of life are what God is dealing with. Then last night we moved down to circumstances. The circumstances themselves, they're not random either. Whether there are things that are opportunities to bring honor and glory to God. So we have the big life picture, we have the circumstances of life, we have one more component to add here, and that's the moments of life. The day-to-day moments of life that happen. They're not random either. You see, you can't have life being something that is organized by God for His glory and not have a whole bunch of crazy circumstances going in all directions. Life is not random. The circumstances of life are not random. Neither are these moment-by-moment encounters that we have. The story that I want to talk about this morning, it takes place in a little village in Samaria. And the Samaritans were people who were kind of outcast. They were used to being looked down on. They just followed some of the law, but not all of it. They were just sort of the outcasts. They were remnants of the northern kingdom. The Jews didn't like them very much and were very obvious in showing that to them. And in this town, there's this woman who is part of this kind of outcast community, and she herself is now somewhat of an outcast. She's been married several times. 5, it says. And the guy she's with now is not even her husband. So living in a group of outcasts and people who already looked down on, now she is just, basically said, give it up. Life doesn't work. Men don't work. I'm in this relationship. I'm going to make this work. Or maybe this is what I have to do to survive. And then she did what is normal. They got to go get water. So there's no fridge, there's no tap, there's no ability to do what I'm doing right now, take a drink right out of my bottle. She goes out to where there's a well. And this well has been there. They identified it as Jacob's well, so it's been there for 1,500 years. And that's what the people of this town did. But they wanted water. They went out to the well and brought it back. And you can imagine her, this is her daily routine. I'm caught up in life. And when she gets there, she finds this man, this Jewish man, sitting there by himself, looking kind of tired and worn out, as the narrative tells us. And that's kind of odd. He's just sitting there by himself. And then something even more odd happens as far as she's concerned. This man, this Jew, from these people who despise her, asks her for a drink. And that's where I'm going to pick up the narrative and reveal what's happening here. When the woman came to draw water, this is her everyday life and moment, this man asks her, would you give me a drink? Because the disciples were not there. And she looks at him with some kind of an astonishment. You're a Jew. I'm a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink? This is contrary to everything you believe, dude. This is not where you are. You look down on me. And Jesus answered her with this amazing response, something that he knew was happening, and it's how we can have confidence. He says, I knew that if you knew the gift of God and who it is that asked you for a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water. And she's going, maybe this guy's been out in the sun a little bit too long. Sir, you have nothing to draw water, and the well is deep. Where can you get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us this well and drank from it himself, as also his sons and his flocks did? She's basically saying, you cut him off your rocker, aren't you? Asking for this. Jesus responds again, without condemnation, everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again. But whoever drinks the water I give him will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give him will be a spring of water welling up for everlasting life. Well, as someone who takes this journey every day, she is, wow. Okay, so she's going to take the bait. She's going to challenge him. Sir, give me this water so that I won't get thirsty. I have to keep coming here to draw water. Maybe she's mocking. Maybe she's kind of intrigued with the idea. But she said, okay, pal, deliver on your promise. And Jesus then asked her this simple question. Go back and tell your husband. And she replied, in a way that's honest, I have no husband. So far, she thinks she's good. Jesus says, you are right when you say you have no husband. The fact is, you've had 5 husbands. And the man you have now is not your husband. What you've just said is quite true. The woman says, I can see you're a prophet. Good job, lady. But you Jews claim, and she immediately begins to dodge the issue. And Jesus turns her back and says, believe me, woman, a time is coming when you will worship the Father, not on this mountain where you are, or even in Jerusalem. You will worship me. And she is blown away that this man knows her story, appeals to her, and calls her to trust him. And in this seemingly random moment, God turns this lady's life around and the life of this village, because they found the person that was true. Life is made up of moments that are not random, but are only there for us to be able to bring honor to God. Because as we see here, demonstrated for us, God is near. As Paul told the great thinkers in Athens, perhaps some of you can reach out to him. And the purpose of all these random moments is to reach out to God, to follow him, to know the beauty of his truth. That's what brings life together in a cohesive whole. That's what gives us hope. There's no randomness. There's only the beauty of God calling us and drawing him to himself. And as this woman did not experience shame, but experienced hope, that's the purpose of all these seemingly random moments of life, to draw us to Christ. And that's the thought. You have a great day.